we're unique in that we have an ethical charter that governs everything that we invest in. We develop sector frameworks and issues-based frameworks, and the sector frameworks would, for example, would guide us to how we invest within a certain sector, for example, the banking sector. Issues frameworks would be animal testing framework, so that cuts across different sectors, but obviously it has a big part to play in healthcare and biotech investing. So I guess we're different in that, first of all, we screen the investable universe according to the ethical charter. But the charter is it's broken up into what we call the positives and the negatives. So there's 12 positive statements and 11 negative statements. More and more, the mainstream managers are looking into environmental and social issues. So they're looking at those, but they're looking at more from a financial risk perspective, whereas we're looking at it from a purely ethical or a values-based decision. So it is quite different. But the positive screening aspect of things makes us different even within the responsible investment landscape. So the end result is a portfolio that looks very different to other managers. And within the domestic equities universe, it's actually very different to also the market indices. So it's a portfolio that is different. So just by being different correlates well with other managers, correlates well with the market, and the end result is also in terms of performance, risk and return profiles. It's pleasingly, it's a lower risk proposition in terms of volatility, and over the last 20 years or so, it has delivered on good performance. So outperforming the market, depending on which asset class, but within the Australian equities asset class, we've generated some very good outperformance. And within the international equities asset class, the product is designed to meet the market index. It's an important thing for investors to consider, and even APRA came out and encouraged superannuation trustee boards to consider the financial risk of climate change, because it is something that is going to impact the economy. What we do invest in is renewable energy. We invest in energy storage. We invest in the transition from the current energy supply grid to what we expect it to look like in the future. And I guess that's what responsible investment managers and ethical managers are generally a little bit better at, in that longer term horizon, looking way out into the future and considering what society, what the planet should look like, or what we should be doing. So in this case, in terms of climate change, there's going to be a lot of adverse impacts, which could affect a lot of things, in particular assets, not just financial assets, but physical assets that may be impacted by, for example, the rising sea levels. Some cities may become unlivable, so what happens to those stranded assets there? So the one way for investors to consider that is to reduce their exposure to carbon emissions. The performance track record is excellent. So there's not many other funds within this space that can deliver, that have a track record of consistent outperformance, and delivering it for such a long time and in a consistent manner. I guess our process is unique. So the other benefit, I guess, for advisors in particular, would be that we would have an investment rationale for everything that we hold and stuff that we don't hold. So you can imagine when a client goes to an advisor and is seeking an ethical portfolio, they're going to have their own ethical tilts and beliefs. They would want to know why this manager invests in this company or an asset class. We can always help the advisor in formulating that rationale, especially for what we invest in. We would absolutely know what's the ethical positive or negative for that company or asset class, which we're more than happy to communicate to advisors and to our clients. A lot of those rationales are on our website as well. But yeah, truly, what we stand for it just permeates across everything that we do. So the Charter, although it guides our investments, it also sits in our corporate constitution. So it's the way we do business, it's the way we treat our staff, it's the way we consider all our stakeholders.